Patriarchy has done a terrible job. The reality of life is that we don't all experience the same reality. And so what you are experiencing, you believe that that is reality. But it's only reality according to you, because you are experiencing your reality based on the subconscious things that are inside you.
I knew from day that I could never be a wife. I can't do it, because one thing about me is I'm not senile. And I'm not silly, I'm not stupid. If I clearly see that something is a wrong move and it's going to impact me, I'm not going down that road. And I also can't, I'm not going to be able to pretend that was a good decision at all. And I'm going to be annoyed if there is a negative impact on me and or the household. And this is the thing, there are cultures and religions that even tell you not even to voice dissension, disagreement. I saw a podcast clip floating around where a man was saying the reason why, he loves his wife is because even when he's wrong, she doesn't say anything. I thought, what kind of nonsense is that? She allows him to be wrong, even if the impact is negative on... You see, I'm too adult for that.
This lady speaks the way she does.
People will give reports on their relationship experiences all based on their belief system. When you have a different belief system because of what was taught to you, here's what you get.
How my mother raised me. My mother, even she has affected how I raise my children. She has affected how I went through divorce. No drama, no fights, no anger, just accountability to myself. Paula, you cannot blame this man. He gave you what he had. My ex-husband, in talks fight them. I didn't want to taint their mind. They love their father like they love me. And I didn't want them to ever look at him differently.
This lady speaks the way she does.
I knew from day that I could never be a wife. I can't do it, because one thing about me is I'm not senile. And I'm not silly, I'm not stupid. If I clearly see that something is a wrong move and it's going to impact me, I'm not going down that road. And I also can't, I'm not going to be able to pretend.
She speaks the way she does. You see all the comments, and that's all you need to show you that there are others who share the same space on earth here with us, but have a completely different experience of life. Seriously, just don't realize that not everyone is living the same reality.
I think it's time that we started, I don't want to say calling out. No, let me say it's time that we started waking these people up from the fact that they were deceived into thinking that that's the only reality possible. And I know that they don't know, because they believe this with all their heart and soul. And that's why they speak the way they do. For some other people, it is because their ego is just too big to look at themselves to understand their contribution to what they experience in relationships. But I know some people, when I see them and when I hear them, I know that they are speaking because this is what they were taught and this is what sits in their subconscious. And they believe it with all their heart and soul.
That you will never know is reality for them. Because when you ask yourself, are these people living, is it the same earth that we're living in? And everything they do and say will always be rooted in that. And when you don't know where a person's soul lives, you will take them at face value. You will take them for what they portray on the external. And the results that you will get from your interactions, from your relationship with them, will be the results for what is rooted in their subconscious. Beautiful, isn't it?
Nice weather, eh?
Beautiful. I'm not oblivious to the fact that so many men make life unbearable for women. She speaks the way that she does. And it's those who have the same subconscious as she does, who agree with what she says, as well as others who are still impressionable, people who haven't quite developed their own conviction. So these people are the people who are these are the people who believe that being a wife is a negative thing. And it's all right to decide not to get married, but spewing the message as factual and true is where we draw the line. Okay, darlings? Do you know that just carrying that idea alone will create problems even where there are none? Because it'll influence all filtering even before anything has happened, before anything has had the chance to happen. And this is what many are dealing with today. This is what many people are struggling with today. Unnecessary problems, all due to fear, all due to the fear that is in the subconscious, even before the relationship ever took off, even before they ever met the person. Fear creates death. It kills even before there was ever a situation to worry about, in so many ways. And many people who believe they are all right do not actually know, they don't actually realize that they're already a victim of fear. The problem is that where attention is supposed to go, the world system just isn't taking us there. Instead, all sorts of external suggestions are put forward as how to deal with relationships. All sorts of checklists are given. Check if they are, ask them if they are, all those things are on the external. And so you never get to the soul, the subconscious of this person. And that's why we have insanity that we have. That's why you have the insanity that you see all around. And because you fall for it, that's why you get caught up in the madness. Many men today have entered into marriage with women whose subconscious is soaked in limiting beliefs about relationships, thinking that they will be able to show her that life can be different. They think that they will be able to soak her and overpower her with their love and care and attention. But sorry, you are not equipped for the journey that you have undertaken. And that's why you crash. If you had truly understood, you would not have embarked on that journey. Without first clearing the operating system. You would not start trying to put data into the system without clearing out the dirty virus in the system. So you did it backwards, and hence the trouble. You meet a woman who has had a tortured background. When I say tortured, what I mean is who has been taught very wrong things about relationships. And because of having been taught those things sit in the subconscious, and those things influence the things that now happen to her, and those convince her further that everything that she was taught about relationships is right. You meet this kind of woman, you didn't clear out the data sitting in the operating system, and you begin to feed it new data. Look, it's going to get corrupted by what is already sitting in there. So you do it backwards, and that's why when you do this, you're just sailing straight into stormy waters. A lot of men know this. They know that this has been their experience. And the same as many of us women. Actually, even as I speak now, I know that some man somewhere has come across this woman's video and is thinking to himself, I can win her over because I can show her that life isn't the way that she's thinking it is. When I shower her with love and care, she will see that what she's saying isn't true. He believes that he's going to show her life as the opposite. Try it, sir, and come back and give us the reports. This is why we've got to let it sink in that being good is not a qualification for having good relationships, nor is having good intentions going to save you. When you're seeing someone who you believe needs rescuing, you usually believe that you're doing something good. But what you don't know is that you're actually two sides of the same coin, and that is the precise reason you are drawn to this person, and you're just leading both of you right into a jam. This is another reason why you don't convince people to get into a relationship. You don't convince anyone who has shown that they're hesitant about entering into a relationship. I can't count the number of guys who have done their best to convince the woman that they should be in a relationship and that it's going to be beautiful. And they say this because they have every intention of showing that woman what love and care is. They want to shower that person with love and care. But guess what? A person who shows any hesitation to get into a relationship is doing that because they know that they don't have the capacity for what you're asking them for. They're not convinced. They might even want it, but they know right then that they still don't have the capacity in their subconscious. And you getting into it with them, convincing them, you're going to have to pay for it. If you've done this and you're thinking that you got away with it, you're going to bring the reports in the future. You'll see. Because it prevents people from attaining their development in an area where a person still needs growing. They still need growth. I want you to try to take that opportunity away from them. That growth still needs to happen. We're all getting refined into a better version of ourselves. And when you interfere with another person's journey into that better version of themselves, you are going to have to pay the price for doing that to them. You think you're doing them good. You're doing both of you a disservice. But what I am saying isn't going to sink in just yet, if you don't already know it. I'm not oblivious to the fact that what she's saying, or what people who think like this say, is also real, but only to an extent. It's not the full picture. And the reason I say that is because patriarchy has done a terrible job. And the truth is that there are far too many men who make life unbearable for women. But when you are raised in a background that this is the most normal thing, when your culture or your religion, actually your environment, when your culture or your religion, your environment, your family, when you are taught that male oppression against women is the norm, then your whole worldview is skewed against men, and that belief alone carries a lot of weight. And it's the same for men who constantly have issues with women, men who constantly have relationship struggles. It's the same principle that causes it. I will tell you straight and simple now that anyone who is in a cycle of relationship struggling, there is something that is causing it. It isn't random. It isn't because of that other person. Despite what they're doing. Despite that person or all the people that you've had along the way are doing or have done what they have done, there is a reason why you are experiencing these things. What other people do is only half of the equation. So we need to excavate you, and that's how we're going to bring up what it is that is causing you to have these experiences. All of us, myself inclusive, right? We are constantly on this journey. These people, they also did what they did, they're doing what they're doing, but honey, that's not the reason that you find yourself in those situations. That's not the full picture. That's not the full picture. And I'll explain further down the video. And because you don't get it, you have no choice but to believe it is because of their bad personality or character traits. And because of that, you actually do not get the true solution to this issue. She specifically says that she could never be a wife, and she gives her reasons. Her reason is because being a wife means you have to bow to nonsense. And she's not alone. She's not alone in that belief. And so when people tell you something is a specific way, and if it is something that you find to be negative, something that you don't want as part of your life, all that I implore you to do is, one, ask yourself, where did they get that idea from? Because you don't have to buy it. And remember, number two, it is not necessarily true, but they believe it because it is what sits in their subconscious. And if you are going to buy into it, ask yourself, what is it in your subconscious that is making you buy into this idea? Because only people who have something in their subconscious will buy into this idea that these people are talking about. But guess what? They've been exposed to a life where all they're saying is what they have to believe. They have to believe it. They have to believe that relationships are mostly like this. This is why people have limiting beliefs. And they are vehement in holding onto them because it is what they were taught from their culture, their religion, their environment, their experiences, and all those things continue to prove that that is true. I mean, you already have it in you, so wherever you go, it's like it's part of your system. Even before a person has done something, you have the expectation that they're going to do something. And you don't necessarily respond in a negative way. Sometimes you even respond in a positive way because your mind already tells you that there is going to be a problem. And so you begin to do things that will end up bringing that thing to pass, even when you're doing things that are positive. That's the reason why sometimes people adopt people pleasing. When people pleasing, trying to make things work, you actually end up destroying the very thing that you're trying to protect. And so when someone else when you come from your own reality, when we come from our own reality and we tell them, listen, what you're saying, it doesn't add up. What you're saying is false. You can have a life that is devoid of relationship struggling. You will hear people arguing. You will see people arguing. They will simply not believe you. They will tell you, they cannot believe you that life can be very different. They will tell you, oh no, because they have adopted and they have believed when they have heard it said, relationships require so much, relationships require effort, it requires hard work. The people who are telling you this are telling you because it's what they believe. You have to also understand that there are people who have a completely opposite belief, and that is the reason why they're saying it. So what you should do instead is, rather than quarreling and arguing that the point that you held is what it is, if you actually want that other life, what you should do is ask them to prove it to you, and then give them a chance to prove it to you. Because if you ask me to prove it to you, I will take you through certain exercises, and you will come out of those exercises to know by yourself which one of us is speaking the truth. But if you don't even want to try it because you're so sure of what you're saying, then you are going to be forever sentenced. You are banished to that life and reality that you're believing. Well, I had this exact conversation with a young man, and he had the very same arguments. And today, he's changed tunes because he saw shege, like he saw punishment. When you're thinking that you're going to be able to do it, but you're going to shower them with all the care, love, attention, because you have no idea that you are ill-equipped for the journey that you're undertaking. You know, and I'm glad that today he's seen it. He's like, Uzo, what my eyes have seen, right? So, and I feel for him because I understand this thing. Because you've heard it said everywhere. You've heard people who are supposed to be experts say it everywhere, that relationships require effort, relationships require hard work. People have to say what they believe. They have to say what has been their experience. They can't tell you any different. Everybody is limited to what they know, and what we know is limited to our experiences. Therefore, we believe them. But if what you know is something that you know you don't want to be featuring in your life, what you shouldn't do is be arguing that that is a fact when someone is telling you something different. What you should do is challenge them to prove to you that you can actually have that life if that is what you want to have. Got it? Now I'm going on to make a longer video about this. Make sure you watch the longer video. I'm going to leave a few more facts in there. Okay, bye.